you, Mr. Chairman. 2368 and 2369 are both bills that are seeking to increase the filing fees both in family court as well as in district court and Superior Court. These bills came to me by request of the Rhode Island Center for Law and Public Policy, and I know that the president of the center is here, and I bet could explain a lot better than I can.
We do have a number of people signed up to testify. We have a Geoffrey Schoos, a J. Ryan McNeilis, a Janine Castleman, and a looks like Nuana Zula.
Should be Robert McNeilis along with Nunu Zulu, who I believe will not be speaking, but Robert McNeilis will.
And we'll start on our right, your left. I believe that's Mr. Schoos.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Geoff Schoos. I'm President, CEO of the Rhode Island Center for Law and Public Policy. We were organized in 2008, and we received our tax-exempt status at the end of 2008. We deal with civil legal issues for low and modest income folks. We have served over 3,000 since 2009. We're 2,600 since 2011 through 13. So we started recently to get traction. We deal in a variety of civil legal issues. We do not, the shorter list I think is we don't do bankruptcy, we don't do contested divorce, and we don't do really serious complex litigation. We do housing matters, some domestic relations relative to child support and child custody, and we have some materials here that I'd like to pass out if we could give them to the clerk. Thank you. And that will tell you our story better and more cogently. Let me, if I may, discuss with you why this is, I think, important and why our agency is important.
Are you working in conjunction with the Rhode Island Legal Services at all, or?
In conjunction, yeah, we refer to them and they have referred to us. So I'm not sure what conjunction is, but yeah, we've worked collaboratively with them. Some of our attorneys sit on committees that are also represented by real attorneys as well.
Under this legislation.
Under this legislation, we are two separate agencies.
And
is that responsive?
And the fees are going to be split between Legal Aid Society, Rhode Island Legal Services, or you, correct?
My understanding is that the fee, there's already in the legislation $10 of filing fees that already goes to Rhode Island Legal Services. What we're asking for is an additional amount of money going to us so that both organizations continue to benefit. The need is enormous, so you know whatever we can do together, that's what we do.
How much money do you anticipate this increase?
Well, we're looking at based on 2012 annual report, just based on the numbers that that the judiciary reported, somewhere around $250,000 to $300,000. Okay. I mean, unless anybody has questions, and I mean the simple fact is, I started this in 2008 alone. I did this because I saw a real need in the community. There are a number of lawyers on the committee, and we all know that there are people without money who are not your relatives who need to come to you for services. I couldn't turn anybody away, and I did this for a number of years. And finally, one day, as I was wrestling with the latter stages of my life, if you will, and this sounds so dramatic, but I was 59 when I started this. And I woke up one morning, and I shook my wife awake, and I said to her, you know, I've decided I'm going to start a nonprofit legal services organization. And my wife, who has been my wife now for 42 years, looked at me and said, before she rolled over, Schoos, you've been a nonprofit for the last 10 years. It's about time you did it right. So this was an attempt to do that. What we have done is we have developed a model that we think works for us. We are proactive. So we are in 9 community centers throughout the state, 7 senior centers and 2, if you will, community centers. We go from Woonsocket to South Kingston, from Coventry to Westerly. In those packets that were distributed, you will see written testimony from 5 of those center managers. There certainly could have been more, but frankly, this hearing sort of snuck up on me, so I really apologize, but we did the best we could. We also are the legal partner for the Medical Legal Partnership currently at Hasbro. And Dr. Palant, who was also signed up to discuss this matter, and Janine Castleman, who is our program manager at Hasbro, can speak more eloquently about that than I am. What we do is we deal with an idea called preventative law. We try to get out there early. We try to increase access and awareness. We use our host agencies as an imprimatur for our services. So, for example, with elderly folks, there's sometimes a certain, I used to do some elderly law, and there was a tendency to be a little resistant. There were mobility issues, going to the lawyer's office tended to be traumatic in some regards. So what I used to do is I used to make house calls. And number one, it was more efficient because people always forget things. So I could just say to them, go wherever it is you keep these papers, and I'll look away, and you can give them to me. I probably saved 2 weeks. They fed you, which was always good. And it was a more comfortable relationship where people felt more at ease and more easy to tell their story. What we try to do is when we developed this organization, we tried to create a model similar to that, which is why we reached out to the senior centers. Now, what we do is we deal with low and modest income people, as I told you. So people at 125% of FPL, federal poverty level, receive pro bono.
Mr. Boyle, you have a question?
I do.
I'm sorry, sir.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Sure.
please. Thank you for coming before the committee. One of
Thank
the
you.
questions I have is what right now is the source of your funding to operate this particular public policy?
We merge everything together. So what we do is we rely on grants. We receive small grants. We received community development block money to help offset the cost of the senior centers. A couple of years ago, we received some of the lead settlement money. We also rely on donations, both foundation grants and individual donations. We have the traditional nonprofit annual event.
I
Is
had
that
three
responsive?
questions, but
Sure.
let me ask you the second one, which maybe should have been the third, but I'll ask it now as the second question.
Sure.
If we pass this bill, what more would you anticipate you can do as a center then, that the funding coming from this particular legislation, how is it, does it expand you? Does it allow you to be more efficient? What exactly do you reap in terms of a benefit from this legislation?
Okay, all of the above, and I don't mean to be flip, but what I'm saying to you is that certainly this money would provide stability and sustainability. It would be a platform upon which to try to leverage other dollars. That's the first thing. The second thing is expansion. We could be in double the number of centers that we are currently in if only we had the capacity to do so. These dollars leveraged with other dollars would enable us to expand.
How many people are on your payroll?
Right now, 6 that are paid, including, well, 5. I don't draw a salary. Sorry.
Are they salaried
Yes.
weekly? They are
They're
weekly?
monthly, if you will. I'm sorry?
Pardon? Are they salaried on a week? Is it a weekly salary?
No, it's a monthly
monthly
salary.
And give the committee an idea of what might be an average pay for an employee,
Well-
and how many hours do they work?
I'm going to let them talk about the hours, but it's one gets 45,000, the other gets 38.8. Our office manager, chief of staff gets 30, and a couple get 14.4.
Thank
So it's pretty low end. And I am, if you will, to full disclosure, I am authorized by the board to collect up to $50,000 if money is available. Since the beginning, I have taken all available monies and applied it back into programming and into growing staff. So I haven't drawn a dime. I intend not to, and for as long as I stay. Is that responsive?
That's very responsive.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other